So in Season 18, the Monarch Void exotic bow actually got intrinsic overload arrows, which is amazing because overload champions, in my opinion, are probably the most annoying because they're always teleporting and they regen their health unless you stun them. And overall just makes them very, very annoying. But now that Monarch has literally built-in overload arrows, this is going to be one of the best weapons in the entire game to deal with them. So because of that, I decided to make a whole little build setup for in-game content for the Voidlock, and let's just go ahead and talk about it. So our exotic of choice is going to be the NEZAREC'S instead of things like the Controverse Hold. Since we're not really focusing all out on our grenades, I felt like NEZAREC'S would be like the perfect exotic because we're going to be using, 2 void weapons here, and then our kinetic slot's just going to be specifically for whatever champions we have to deal with during the season. And because of that, NEZAREC'S is going to be the perfect exotic to go ahead and put on the setup. So let's go ahead and look at the actual, subclass itself. We're using basic stuff here like Chaos Accelerant to make our Vortex Grenade last longer, have a greater increased size Vortex as well. Then we do have things like Feed the Void to give us Devour, so we have some good sustainability and staying alive, right? We do have a Healing Rift. We are going to be running things of Echo of Undermining, Echo of Remnants, and then Echo of Instability. If you would like to change out Echo of Remnants for something like Echo of Obscurity, by all means, go ahead. But these are the 3 fragments that I like personally on this setup. Then I'm just using a Cataclysm Nova Bomb as our super. Stats you want to try and hit the most are obviously going to be Resilience because Resilience is good on every single build in the entire game. And then Discipline because it is going to be our second strongest ability. Obviously Recovery would be a solid third, but we do have things like Devour, so it's not the most overwhelming priority need. And another reason why I'm not prioritizing Recovery at least the most on this specific build outside of Devour is because I specifically have a Stasis Bond here, 2 things of Utility Kickstart, and a stack of Elemental Time Dilation. The reason why I have this specific class item for this is because we do have 1, 2, and then 3 stacks of Font of Might. We have Elemental Ordnance to actually make our Void Well, and then because we have these 3 stacks of Font of Might and then a stack of Elemental Time Dilation, whenever we pick up that Void Well that we're going to generate from our Void Grenade, our Vortex Grenade, that is going to give us 20 seconds of Font of Might rather than the usual 10, literally doubling its duration, meaning that our linear is going to do more damage for more time. If you're using this burst down a major, burst down a boss, Font of Might will be up for a lot longer, and with the Typhon being so free and easy to get a God Roll crafted version of, a lot of people are going to be able to make use of this Typhon, right? That's kind of the main reason why we have our Typhon as our main heavy weapon. If there are situations where people are using rockets, someone's got a Galleon, by all means, that's why I have the Royal Entry here. I got a Field Prep Clown cartridge one. Perfect for these types of situations. Also, your Font of Might will be making your Monarch stronger as well, which is very, very useful. Our chest piece, bro, it just got some resist mods. That's it. And then your gloves, depending on if you're fighting champions or not, you would put on your champion mod here. But keep in mind, though, that because you don't have to worry about putting on any overload, it's going to save you at least 1 slot to put something else, whether you want fastball, maybe a reloader, it's there. Now, if you are not doing any super hard content with there's no champions or anything like that, go ahead and just run an Unforgiven and a Wither Horde. Just kind of dunk on everything if you want. But I really wanted to focus this build on doing stuff for Master Nightfalls, eventually GM Nightfalls when those drop, Master Dungeon, just Master content where you're dealing with a lot of champions. This is where I feel like this is going to come up really, really strong, really useful, especially because this season, dude, they have actually made some special weapons have champion capabilities. For instance, we got Anti-Barrier Sniper and we got Unstoppable Shotgun. Because of that, I literally have the Succession and the Fortissimo on standby for whatever other champion we have to face. You would just slot that mod on right here like so. So, Unstoppable Shotgun, RIP my linear reloader, I'll be alright. What this build does mean, though, is that the only actual seasonal mods that are in play here are literally just thermo shock plating. And then, of course, whatever freaking champion mod you have to deal with. But this does mean that this build doesn't rely on any super overwhelmingly powerful seasonal mod like Volatile Flow that we had back in Season 16, or Classy Restoration that we had last season. One other thing to note is that on our NEZAREC'S, another reason why we're running this badass helmet is because we're going to be running double Harmonic Siphon, and because of that, we are going to be running Absolution on our boots, so that every time we pick up an Orb of Power, we're going to reduce all ability cooldowns even further, just further synergizing with our NEZAREC'S, allowing us to have all of our Void abilities up very, very consistently. Overall, the Voidlock still just stands to be one of the most overall well-rounded classes in the entire game, at least in my opinion. And now with the intrinsic overload arrows that the Monarch bow receives, this build will allow you to put in some massive work inside of some master content inside of the game. Let me know your favorite build down below. Subscribe for more content.